All right, so guys, the ban list has dropped. I am back with Diabolos and with Grunt, and we had come up with what we thought was going to be hits. And gentlemen, I did not see Zodiac Barrage being hit at all. Are you surprised that this happened like this?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think
actually
a,
really am.
I think a lot of people were surprised because they already hit Zoo at Trident, and with one barrage, it wasn't even consistent
Yep.
because there wasn't really a way to search barrage. So I don't know. I was kind of wondering why they did that. But hey, they also hit some other stuff that makes more sense for the Tri Brigade part.
They did, which we'll definitely get to here. But I was really surprised just because I don't think it's doing that much at one. I mean, yeah, if you get it at one, it's great because you can go into a Zeus, but you can easily out that. So I don't know. I really thought they missed the ball here when it came to forbidding this kind of card because nobody that I know of was even complaining about it. Diablos, did you ever hear at your locals or Grunt someone complaining if you drew the Zodiac Barrage?
No, not really. But then again, I'm a Tri Brigade player.
I mean, I just never heard anybody complaining about this, and so I just thought to myself, man, why hit something like this if nobody's calling for it? I just thought that is a very strange move. Diablos, I know you're always thinking of Konami's next spending move. Do you think that they're going to be trying to push something in the future, and that's why they hit this now?
no, not really. I think Barrage got hit because Konami's been reading the comments, and they do agree that Zeus is a problem,
Hmm.
but they still need to sell Zeus as a reprint.
Yeah, for the
So,
Megatens. Yeah.
so what a way to appease both by hitting the one engine that gets them into the Zeus multiple times.
Good
Because
point.
like
Good point.
it hits the consistency of Tri Brigade without hitting the consistency of Konami's wallet.
Ooh, that boy, that's so well put. This is exactly why you're on this podcast with us. Okay, so Grunt, would you agree with that?
I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people will agree with the ban list that most of the time it's just pushing product, and I do have a few ideas of what they could be pushing product wise. With some of the things they peeled off the list. I don't know. Zodiac's probably just not profitable enough for them anymore, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like cut this off. We don't have to hit Zeus then, and people will think we did something. But at the end of the day, a lot of people who see this are just like, oh, why'd they hit Barrage?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Going on here. Oh, I have got the slides out of order. Looking at the limited list here, we had some of these right. So I know that you and I were talking about Diablos that we wanted Eva hit to one at least, if not banned.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Grunt, you had talked about Fire Formation Tenki, and I know Diablos, you felt that as hard as I did enjoying those Ancient Warriors, because boy does that hurt the consistency of that deck. But I was bummed to see that. But Meow Mew, I really thought they'd go for Doodle Doo. I was very surprised. But let's talk about Eva. Is it enough to hit it to one, Grunt? What do you think?
I'm a Drytron player, and I understand that there are some contentions about what ratio should be what card, but I'll admit it. I always played Eva at one because I was used to just searching it at the end of a chain of searches and
Uh huh.
having it for the discard. I know people who were running two, and I knew that two was kind of optimal, but I don't know. Hitting it to one, in my opinion, doesn't really kill the deck. It just makes more room for extra hand trap or something.
That's interesting you bring that up because that's exactly what I thought with some of these different cards. I thought, okay, you hit the Eva, and yeah, you might hurt it just a bit because I've known more players have been playing two recently. But I just thought, well, that's more room for another hand trap or another crossout designator. I thought the same thing with Fire Formation 10 key. Diablos, did that cross your mind? Okay, now I've got 2 new slots for hand traps.
No, not really. The Tenki hit. Okay, I'm gonna go on with Ava first because I do agree with it going to one because the main point of people asking for it to go to one is that it would fuel a Herald.
Uh-huh.
So
Mm-hmm.
by putting it to one, it'll make it more easier to play through Herald, even if like the Drytron player because with Eva it searches them hand traps and Herald fuel and a follow up, which is
Yeah.
the other girl.
Yes. Yeah.
Forgetting her name right now.
Yeah.
Diviner.
Yes.
So
Right.
I can see them. I'm glad they put that one because now it makes them think a little more. Like it makes Drytron players think a little more about their plays and do they want to risk this card because now is at 2, or if the opponent stops Benton, then I can do this. It makes them think a little more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fire Formation Tenki. I knew that was going to happen, and I can see people teching in Raven or even the Tiger King to get Fire Formation Tenki out. Like, it doesn't really hurt the deck, that much. Putting it to one, yeah, it's one less fractal, but, any of the Tri Brigades are all, like, starters or pseudo starters.
And we'll definitely get to the misses, because I have lots to say about that. But I do agree with what was limited outside of Prank Kids Meow Mew. And Grunt, I know you probably have a lot to say about this. It's really frustrating when decks get the support they need. And Meow Mew's great because it's a Link 1 and it gets you going. Which one's the worst hit here for you, Grunt, being the Prank Kids player? Would you have rather seen Meow Mew stay unlimited or Doodle Doo take the hit? Which one is the harder one for you here?
I mean, I've talked to other people who play Prank Kids, and we all kind of agree that having Doodle Doo at 1 would have sucked. But here's the thing. Usually, if you fail your Doodle Doo, like if someone gets negated, you've got ways to shuffle it back and eventually try to get back to it. The issue with how Meow Mew is used, especially since it banishes itself, I don't know. It's just kind of a mess. I don't think it's awful. I'm not really a fan of only having one Meow Mew because, if you lose your first Meow Mew, you just don't have as much recovery. I feel like they could have hit it to 2 and it would have been better.
Yes, I agree. Because I just feel that Prank Kids is a very fair deck. I've always felt that way, that it's a very fair deck that people can definitely play around. And if there was going to be a check, I really thought Doodle Doo is the way they would have went. And like you're saying, the recovery you get is pretty necessary with this being such a big push sometimes with the engine. So yeah, I was a little surprised by that one. Looking at the semi-limited list, I'm very excited to see Joker at least is semi-limited. I feel like they're slowly but surely giving the Pendulum players all that support back, which makes me really think at some point Electromite will go back to 1. I just think they're doing this very slowly, giving all that support back. Danger Nessie, I'm not sure what made them take it to 2. Maybe because it's just not doing much. I'm not sure. But I think the real conversation is E-Teleport. I was really surprised to see that. Diabolus, do you think this is their nod to the virtual world players?
I think it's more like they're using virtual world as like a test to see if E-Tele is still broken.
Ooh,
and if they don't see any like thing going on, I think they might put it back to 3 when they release the Punk archetype.
Oh, right, because that's all psychics. That's a great point. Or are they all psychics? Is that right?
Yes, all the Punk main deck monsters are psychic.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah.
And they're all level 3.
And I like that. I like the word choice of test. And then this kind of goes to what, Grunt, you and I were talking about. And I think you were with us, Diablos. I can't remember for sure. But we talked about the idea that this could be a nice small little engine within virtual world, the Punk stuff possibly. So that's interesting, the idea of testing it out to see if it could be unlimited. I know lots of people would be excited. Grunt, do you think this is going to cause a reprint to happen in the near future?
So I've told this to people outside of the group, and I even said this in the Discord. There's two reasons they are probably doing this for eTele. One, maybe they're trying to push Virtual World getting the reprints and the Megatins,
Mm,
which is
mm-hmm.
that's just because it's recent. I think they're also trying to push Punk just because with two eTele, obviously the deck is technically better since most of
Oh
it
yeah,
is level 3 or lower psychics.
absolutely.
And the other thing too is if they're gonna reprint eTele and Grand Creators, then good chance that just like Snake Rain, they're gonna make it a collector's rare as well, and that's just gonna
Oh,
get some hype
okay.
as well.
And I'm okay with that because if there's a collector's rare, that means there's a cheaper version too. And I do like how they're doing that with these new sets. So, for example, there's a collector's rare for Nightmare Unicorn, but then they also had, a much cheaper rare that you could get. So, yeah, I'd be all for that. Give the collectors what they want. Give us budget players a nice cheap option that we can get to play. So, yeah, I would definitely be for that. Diablos, what do you think about Nessie? Why do you think that came off the list or
To
came
be
to
totally honest,
semi-limited? Sorry, say it again.
uh, sorry. To be totally honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I said Konami's. This ban list felt kind of weird because you can see what they're selling, but they're also trying to sell something that we don't know about.
Yes, yes, I completely agree with that. It's almost as if, like you're saying, they're really just putting stuff out there so that when they do spring something on us, it's got the support possibly. Because I can't think of a logical reason why that's been semi-limited. I honestly just don't know. Grunt, do you have any thoughts on that?
My best guess is that because we're getting crossout designator, I don't even think that's the whole thing. It's just with how the game has gone ever since the Nessie Jackalope Tsuchinoko core got limited. I think it's just that there have been so many other consistency pieces, and technically the Dangers just haven't seen that much play. So I guess they just want to maybe push it. Maybe they're gonna have another reprint, or who knows? Maybe we're actually getting more Dangers.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I know there's lots of players that would be hype about that because it's definitely or it was a very popular archetype. So just very interesting for sure. And again, for the pendulum players, we are getting the pieces back, which brings me to the unlimited part of the list, which is Double Iris Magician. I think we all knew that that was coming because it did absolutely nothing. And I think the same thing's being tested here with Joker is the fact that they're going to test it out, see if it does anything big, and if not, I imagine Joker will be the next one that's unlimited. At least that's my thinking. What do you think, Grunt? Do you think that's kind of maybe the pattern we're seeing here with some of this pendulum support?
I think so. Think that I think this is kind of another opinion people have about Pendulum is that some of the Pendulum Magician stuff, if Konami's really that worried about it being broken with Electromite, I feel like a lot of Pendulum players would rather they brought back Electromite.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not saying Skulkerbat and Double Iris negate that. I just think that Pendulum players are still waiting for that big break where even if they don't give us Electromite, Pendulums do kind of want a tool, that's their own form of Halqifibrax. So
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like it's good, but does it really change much from the last list? No, it just means you've got another Joker and another Double Iris that unfortunately does not really give the deck a leg up on anything yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, let's go ahead and talk about Electromite because I thought that was a definite miss here. If they really wanted to shake up the meta at least just a bit, why not make Electromite go to one? I just Electromite to one just makes so much sense because it's been Pendulum players have been begging for it, I feel at this point. Diablos, why do you think they left it off?
I think all that can be summed up in a single phrase, which is one step at a time. Like they're
Yeah.
trying to,
Mm-hmm.
put things out one step at a time. Like maybe like they're testing the waters to see if Skulkerbat at 2 is gonna, shake things up, but it probably might not. So once they see that, they'll put it to 3, and then if nothing else happens, then they might put Electromite back.
That's what I'm wondering, if it's going to take us almost a half a year of more ban lists before we see this happening. I would really like in the next list if they went 3 for Joker and then for Electromite they went to at least 1. That would really be nice to see just what we could do and how, if it's truly been power crept or not, the deck. Because we still wouldn't have Astrograph back yet. And that was one of the main engine pieces that got you to Electromite to begin with. So that's going to be pretty interesting for me to see going forward. Another card that I was very surprised that was not touched in some way was the combo we talked about with Anaconda, Dragoon, and Red Eyes Fusion. Boy, this is interesting. What are you thinking for pricing Grunt when it comes to Dragoon? Do you think this is going to go even higher now?
Dragoon's already gone over $100.
Oh my gosh. And we just looked at that the other day when we were looking at the tins and it was 75. Oh my goodness. See, this is where oh, that gets me worried for Yu-Gi-Oh! Jiminy Christmas.
Like, here's the thing I've considered about this at this point. It's just that they're either gonna, I think they're gonna probably give us a gold reprint of Dragoon, just because Gold Set has had
Mm-hmm.
good reprints, and I mean, I understand some people were disappointed in Gold Series last year for some reason, but you know, it delivered. I think Dragoon is either going to see a reprint, Verite is going to see a reprint. I mean, here's the thing: the list was so garbage this time in terms of changes that most of the price changing online on TCG Player is stuff that people were afraid was going to get banned. So Dragoon's up, Verite I think is like 70 a piece now on TCG. I think
Mm-hmm.
trying to think of what else has gone up. Diviner of the Herald is going
Anaconda's
back
up to
up.
70.
Yes, Anaconda's up to 70.
Oh my, you've got to be kidding me, guys.
Last I checked, or maybe it's 65. I don't know.
Oh
Point is,
my
it's not 50 anymore.
gosh.
Um,
Boy, am I
the
glad
only
I picked it up when it was 20. Oh
the
my
only
goodness.
the only big change that I think is kind of short term is the Ghost from the Past printing of Emergency Teleport is up to like $7-8, and I'm just like, well, we're probably gonna get a reprint in Brain Creators
Mm-hmm.
because it's just it's too perfect not to be in there.
Yeah. And I am hoping on that the reason they left this deck unchecked, or this combo I should say, is because they're hoping for money. Would you agree with that, Diablos? Do you think that's the direction we're going here?
I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Oh, you're fine. Totally get that. So what I had said was, with the way things are going, Grunt said possibly like the gold series for Dragoon or for even Anaconda, because these cards are so expensive right now. Players could be looking at 170 for just the 2 cards. Do you think that this could be the direction that they're going to do some sort of reprinting where you get these cards? Do you think that's where they might go?
I would say no, maybe not, because they
Mm-hmm.
do have new Dark Magician support coming out,
Uh-huh.
and I think they would probably try to reprint it over there because Konami Konami's not dumb. They read everything. Like anything you post on their Twitter, Facebook page, they read everything.
Yeah.
And they also analyze the market price. They analyze everything. So I think they're gonna cash in on the Dragoon hype as much as possible,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe reprint it, especially when they do Dark Magician stuff. At least
Interesting.
that's in my opinion.
Okay, interesting. Looking at where I'm leaning, I would definitely lean that I think there will be some set. I just don't know if it will be the gold series, because if it's not in there, Grunt, where else would they put it?
That's hard to say. I feel like we're just kind of running out of what I call garbage bin sets, where Konami just kind of dumps all their reprints. We're gonna see a few reprints for sure in Grand Creators, and it can be very far fetched. I mean, we got Nightmare reprints because of Live Twins, and other stuff from last year's set. So I don't know. We could see reprints there. Obviously, the gold set has reprints. I think
Right.
most people, since Elvish stuff isn't getting printed in the tins, a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are believing that a lot of the Eldritch stuff will probably be gold rare in the Eldorado set. So I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, Grunt, I'm
We've
losing your
got
thought
gold.
there. Grunt,
We've
say
got
that one
the
more
current
time.
set. What?
Can you hear me, Grunt?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I lost you there for a second. So you're saying the Eldorado stuff.
Yeah, so I think Eldorado's a good chance for it, just because gold set reprints. We kind of went over that a little bit ago.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Grand creators might have a few reprints here or there. It can be pretty loose, so who knows? Maybe they're gonna they could reprint access code in there for a collector's rare excuse, and people wouldn't question it. The point is, those are possible. We've got the Brothers of Legend, obviously, which we're getting in a couple of months, or no, I think it's in January now. I
Mm-hmm.
can't keep track because they keep changing the dates.
And Brothers
But
of Legend looks promising. So yeah, so
yeah,
there could be some good things there. Absolutely. Yeah, I just don't know. Chad, I'd be curious what you're thinking. Do you think that we're going to get a reprint here for Dragoon or for Anaconda, especially now that the prices have spiked now that the ban list is done? Gosh, I'm tempted to move it. It's that expensive. I mean, wow. I can't imagine. Guys, Diablos, how high do you think this could get with this combo in terms of
I
price?
think it depends on the success of the other fusion, which I think. Well, then again, I don't think.
it also depends how to that fusion gets, because why would you buy Destroy Phoenix Enforcer over Dragoon if it also ends up
Mm-hmm.
being like an $80 fusion? Because I could see someone doing that.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Diablos, would you agree with that?
Actually, kind of yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
then again, like I can see people still buying the other guy,
Mm-hmm.
the
Hmm.
Destiny Hero guy.
Yeah.
But I would see them just buying it just to pick it up early. Because why would you
Yeah.
play
Yep.
that over Dragoon?
That,
Or right now, it could be a budget alternative to Dragoon
yeah.
until something
Yeah.
happens to it. But I don't know.
That's a great point. It could really be a nice budget option for players. And then when Dragoon gets hit, suddenly you're going to see that card spike up in price. So, what is the name of that card exactly again, gentlemen? Destiny Hero what?
Destroy
Destroy
Phoenix
Phoenix?
Enforcer.
Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. So,
I
is
don't.
it
We
in the
don't have the.
OCG? Is it in there? Is it out there?
It's in the OCG. We don't have the TCG translation yet, I should
Okay.
say, but we could probably expect that in the next month or two.
Wanted to show
Obviously,
that for the
because in
stream.
November.
So, guys, if you're looking for something, because people, I just, and I agree, guys, I think people are going to easily choose Dragoon over Phoenix Enforcer, which is why I'm a little surprised there wasn't some sort of hit done here, just because you'd think they'd want to push more product. But definitely pick this up, guys, because I think it's going to go high once Dragoon does have some sort of check to its consistency. So yeah, that's a definite one I would look at for sure. Diablos, what's a hit or miss that you were really disappointed with this ban list? What do you think should have been hit that wasn't?
Red Eyes Fusion?
Yes, I agree with that.
Red
Absolutely.
Eyes Fusion, definitely. Uh, other than that, there wasn't really anything.
Well, with the Red Eyes Fusion, yes, that's definitely something I think would have kept Dragoon in place. But were there things like with also that should have been? I guess I should say what
Uh,
misses you're disappointed in. Like, what would you have liked to have seen come off that didn't?
say definitely some True Draco stuff, some Salamangreat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's it. To be honest,
Yeah,
there's
there's
not really much that I really wanted off the list.
uh-huh. No, I agree with that. Yeah, there's definite things that I didn't think were too bad. Grunt, I don't know if you've been on Twitter recently, but Simo, he put out a really great poll on Maxi coming back to 3. The last I saw it was at like 15,000 votes, and it is basically 50-50, where people wanted unlimited and then people wanted to stay banned. Do you think that this card should stay banned with that kind of diversity in the community?
Yeah, I think to a degree it should stay banned. I mean, it's literally a card you either put at 3 or you put at nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
I played when there was only one Maxi, and it's a very sacky card when there's only one copy in every single person's deck.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't really doing it for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well, and
guess
they'd
the
have to
point
give
is
us a
that
reprint if they did it. There'd have to
well,
be a reprint.
well, the optimal defense that I always hear is, well, they can totally bring back Max C, especially now they cross out designators coming out to
Mm-hmm.
hit it. But
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like saying, "Hey, we know this card's a problem, but now we have more ways to address the problem." So I don't know. It just kind of hits me as the type of deck where eh, I don't know. It's just something that I don't get. Maxi essentially can be put in any single deck as a button that says no, and I think that's kind of an issue for the game.
Yeah, yeah. No, and that makes sense. I get that. Me personally, I'm fine if it stays banned. For a very
Same.
small window of I hear you, Diablos. For a very small window of time, I really did want to see it unbanned. And that was when your opponent could extra link you. Um, because I thought, my gosh, how are you going to come back if you're extra linked all the way around the board unless you have a way to draw into your combo pieces or your ways to clear the board? Because I thought this is ridiculous. Because I had opponents, they were using a Mermail deck and they were ripping out all the cards in my hand and extra linking me. I'm like, and I had interruptions, and I'm like, I can't stop this. It's just so fast. So that was the only time I thought, man, I wish this could, go back. But other than that, I think the meta's in a great place, and I think Max C should definitely stay banned. So Konami, I think you definitely got that right. Me personally,
Exactly. Like,
oh, go ahead, go ahead, Diablos.
oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. I didn't
No,
mean to
no,
just
you're
like
fine. You go
jump
right
in.
ahead.
Uh, I was gonna say this card definitely should, stay on the ban list. It should definitely chill there, kick its feet up, relax, because it's gonna be there for a minute. Because like, I can see the argument that we have Call by the Grave
Mm-hmm.
and Crossout coming to deal with it, but think about it. Your opponent tries to maxi. No, you try to maxi and they end their turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, even as a controller mid range deck, you still special summon a lot nowadays.
Yeah, yeah, you
So
do.
you
Mm-hmm.
go, and then your opponent says, okay, maxi. And now they're drawing cards. And it's like, no, no, no. You're asking for too much.
Yeah.
We already got a lot of good things.
Absolutely.
Asking
And
for a little bit
Yeah,
I
too much.
think that's put really well. We already have a lot of good things to deal with the format as it is. And let's remember, it is a good format. I think a lot of people like the format where it is. And so I'm glad they didn't shake up things too much by banning the best decks. But I would have liked to have seen more experimentation with unlimiting some things. So for example, and I know we talked about this in our ban list prediction, True Draco. I really would have liked to have seen the True Draco stuff, especially the monsters. Let's make them unlimited, with the exception of Masterpiece, because he's just so good. But but like Dynamite Knight, I think that would have been a good one to try at 3, or at least semi-limited. So, and then I know Diablos, you had talked about, if I'm not mistaken, the field spell, Dragonic Diagram, possibly going to 2. So it would have been neat to see if they would have done some experimentation with that. So for me personally, that was a miss. And I think if they
I
really
agree.
did want to keep Tri Brigade in check, I'm shocked that Revolt didn't go to at least 1. Diablos, were you surprised there was almost no check on the deck outside of Fire Formation Tenki?
Uh, no, because there are reprints, and Konami wants to sell those reprints. Especially considering the fact that Tri Brigade has been topic events, like they actually like you know been winning stuff,
Uh-huh.
unlike a lot of the other decks that you know hasn't been winning a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm not surprised that Gate is still around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I think by grand creators they might be hit, but I'm not surprised they're around.
Yeah, because I think it's a pretty fair deck, honestly. When I play against it, yes, Revolt's really good, but there's ways to handle that. So I don't know. I'm okay with it. But if they were gonna put a check, I think that's honestly where they would have hit. And to hit just Fire Formation 10 key, I thought, okay, that's good for the people who looking forward to the Mega Tens, like you're saying, the product that's about to come out. They're going to have a chance in a format to play it. So that's always exciting when that happens. Grunt, how about you? What were some things that you're looking at and you're like, man, this was a missed opportunity? What card would you say it was for you?
I mean, here's the thing. They brought Engage back on the last list, yet they didn't actually, bring back Harpor. I know
Mm-hmm.
people are like, oh my god, Harpor is crazy, but it's like they say the same thing about Engage, and Engage makes the deck more viable, but it's
Yeah.
not busted, so, I don't know.
No. Yeah,
It's
I
just,
agree. Yeah, I think that was an opportunity that they missed there for sure. Other than that, though, I, I don't know. I think I'm okay with it. I think if they would have done some of those things that we just talked about, that would have been some nice alternatives to at least shake things up a little bit more. But it was a very lackluster list. And I think, based on what you two have been saying as well, I think they were worried about those megatons a little bit. The fact that they're coming out literally at the beginning of the month and people want an opportunity, at least one format to play with the cards. So I do think, especially sneaking in cross out designator, and this goes back to what KCS Games was saying when we discussed the tins, it really is an honest check on the meta. Diablos, do you think that had a big impact on why this ban list was so small?
Yeah. I mean, I can see why they didn't bring Harpcore back because they're trying to sell new things. And
Mm,
like I said,
mm-hmm,
Konami is like watching. They're always watching. So
mm-hmm.
they see the community say, "Oh, Harpcore can come back." In their mind, okay, if we bring back Harpcore, everyone's going to go back to Orcus, which is an old set that we're not trying to sell no more.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So that's probably why they didn't bring that back. Engage and Stalio, that was actually pretty good because they're not really doing much of anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
But
there's usually some sort of support that I think would be coming eventually for such iconic decks. At least I would assume at some point. Um, I, Me personally, I'd like to see some extra Salamander support. They've already got great stuff, but if they're ever gonna, I think fans would like it because I think there's lots of fans of that Eternal format. So that's just my take there. But you sounded like you were gonna say something else, Diablos. What else were you gonna say there?
I was gonna say some Salamander cards could come back, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I understand why they can't come back because Konami to push new things.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like the ban list, like Simo says, is a tool to sell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I try to look at it that way. Like when I when people ask about the ban list, I try to look at it as such. The ban list is just a way to sell things. Like if you want to be for real, Konami don't care about us. They don't.
That's it.
They don't. They care about our money, yeah,
Uh-huh.
but they don't care about us. They don't care about what we want. So I try to look at the ban list that way. They're not going to care about me and what I think. They're going to care about what sells.
Yeah.
So I understand why stuff like the Salamander stuff, um, the Orchid stuff. I understand why that stuff's still there,
Yeah.
and I do understand why Quick Launch didn't get hit, which is something that we discussed,
Mm-hmm.
in which I do understand why it didn't get hit because Rocket stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna
Because we've
nobody's
got
gonna play Rockets if that card is at one.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, I appreciate the discussion, especially on such short notice. It was definitely an interesting list. I think it didn't have a lot to it, because it was very small, but some of those changes are good changes. So at least it's something, and not like what we had last year at one point where there was nothing. So I think that it's good that, at least had some sort of hits going on. And me personally, I'm okay staying in a slower format. So how about you, Grunt? You happier to stay in the format that we're in?
Yeah, I mean, again, I still think Meow Mew to 1 was the hardest hit any deck got here outside of the tanky hit, but at the same time, I can still play Drytron, and people are going to be like, oh, they only hit Eva to 1. That really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I played Eva to 1, like I said, so it's not really a huge deal if I. Yeah.
No, makes sense. Makes sense. Diablos, how about you? Do you feel that this type of ban list is just going to keep us going in that more controlled, slower pace format?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like the ban list to me was yeah, the ban list left a lot of things to be desired. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, a lot of things to be desired. But I'm happy with this format. The
Yeah, me
format.
too.
I
Mm-hmm.
think I think those who are complaining about the format don't like to think, because in this format there's a lot of thinking. You
There
can't just
is.
just play.
Yes,
You got
yes,
to think about your stuff.
yes. And
So
yep, I think you hit that right on the head. Sometimes we may not like to think like that, but me personally, that's why I liked this game. I liked all the thinking and the interaction with my opponent. So that's what drew me to Yu-Gi-Oh to begin with. So me personally, I'm fine to stay in this slower format. I think it's going to be fun. So guys, that's going to do it for us. Grunt and Diablos, both of you, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me.
Mm-hmm.
of course, absolutely, man.
Yeah, it
All
was
right.
good.
Well, guys, we will see you next time. All right. Thanks, guys. That was fun.